Happy Monday. Today I want to talk about why eating too little is potentially making you fat. This is going to be part one of a three-part series, so make sure that if you're not already subscribed, subscribe below to this channel, like this video, share it with your friends. I have some really cool stuff for you today. So first of all, I have a question for you, and that is, what nutritional protocol or diet setting have you ever stepped into that has taken into consideration all of these things that you see on the board here today? So this is what we're going to talk about today, is your biofeedback. If all of these things are not taken into consideration before you step into an accelerated fat loss phase, you might at most see really good progress in the beginning just to hit a hard, fast plateau, regain the weight, and some interest. Okay, so these boxes per se need to be checked before we're even able to consider an accelerated fat loss phase inside of your protocol. Number one, gut health. I'm sure you've heard this saying many times before, that you are what you eat. Wrong. You are what you absorb. If you aren't able to break down, digest, and absorb your nutrition, guess what? Not much else is functioning optimally in your body. So this is very important to address. Number two, hormones. This is kind of this buzzword as of the recent years, right? To look at testosterone, estrogen, cortisol, all of these different things. We need to have an understanding to some degree of how these things are functioning before we just place greater amounts of stress, releasing greater amounts of stress hormone, which isn't always innately a bad thing, but this is why we need to have a full circle understanding of what's happening before, again, we put you into an accelerated fat loss phase. Otherwise, we're potentially just driving our hormone profile straight into the ground, again, giving you nothing but the opportunity for a hard, fast plateau. I don't know about you, but that's definitely what I would not desire if I were stepping into a new nutritional approach or dietary protocol. Just some other things to consider that kind of, in my humble opinion, are a byproduct of those first two is, what is your energy like? Are you somebody who, when your alarm goes off, you want to hit the snooze button 10 million times? Do you have energy throughout the day? Do you have that midday crash, that afternoon crash? Do you feel tired all day and then have a hard time falling asleep at night? Do you fall asleep easily but struggle to stay asleep? These are all things we need to consider. Do you feel strong to attack your workouts or whatever physical activity that you do have in your life? Do you recover well from that physical activity that you have in your life? At the end of the day, all of these things contribute to your total stress load. If we look at your total stress load, we want to mitigate that and get that as low as possible before we do place you into an accelerated fat loss phase, if and only if we want that fat loss to not only come, but for it to stay, right? We want it to be sustainable. Otherwise, what's the point? A question that I always ask people is, do you care more about how quickly you get to that result or your ability to sustain the result? I'm willing to bet that you care way more about sustaining the result than how long it takes you to get there, but conflict comes when you get into your feels inside of that process, right? So I made mention previously in last week's video about a metabolic assessment. The metabolic assessment essentially looks at all of these things, how your physiology is functioning. Remember, the external happens physically always follows what's happening internally, or with all of these other factors that we need to consider. So to recap, for part one of why eating too little is potentially making you fat, we need to address all biofeedback markers before we can even consider putting you into an accelerated fat loss phase. I'm giving you the opportunity today, I'm going to link it below in the comments, to complete that metabolic assessment, and within 24 hours, someone on my team will get back to you with some feedback, as well as the opportunity to book a call to go over that assessment together if you so desire, if you so choose to want to take that first step at moving yourself forward in a way that provides sustainability so that you literally never have to step into another diet or another nutritional protocol ever again in your lifetime. Sound fair? Amazing. So click that link for the metabolic assessment and we will get you moving in the right direction starting as soon as today or tomorrow. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed. Tune in for part two. Share with some friends that you think might benefit from this topic. I struggled with all of this for the good portion of a decade because I continued just to turn to the dieting industry for new fad diet after new fad diet. So it's part of my mission to help individuals not have to go through all of that pain and suffering that I experienced through the years just trying to achieve some level of sustainability relative to the body goals that I have for myself. I want to help you do the same. Starts with that metabolic assessment and coming back here for part 2 next week.